Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with this gorgeous little nugget. I call her Paloma, but she is the Emma sculpt by Natalie Scholl. And today I'm going to let you guys look at her. I'm going to take her little pacifier out. She only takes a modified pacifier. I don't need to use a magnet in her mouth to hold the pacifier, because she has that little open mouth. But I'm gonna let you guys look at her because one of my subscribers, or somebody who came by my video named Claudette Monty, wanted to know from my two previous videos ago where I talked about the use of friends and family, and I mentioned contracts, and that is something that I'm doing now. Now, I'm doing kind of a loose contract. It's not an official form that I've created or a document that needs e-signatures, but I do include a lot of verbiage in there that for me kind of seals the deal. This isn't a contract that I've had an attorney draw up or anything like that, but they're just things that I learned as I bought and sold dolls, and I've learned, especially the biggest lesson this year in regards to well, I mean, as descriptive as I've always been, but as regards, I'm trying to be like not mention too much stuff about what happened this year. But I learned one of the biggest lessons this year, and the biggest lesson was that although a lot of us do these business transactions, they sell of these dolls very loosely over email, or sometimes we just message each other back and forth on Instagram. And many of my sales, all of my sales, 99% of my sales, with the exception of one person, have been successful sales with no hiccups. So Claudette wants to know if I could discuss my contracts. Now, like I said, these are not any contracts that have been drawn up by any attorneys, but I do appreciate the question because I definitely do want to discuss this. So in my recent last two sales that I had for my dolls, and I only do this for my dolls, not clothing sales, but for my dolls, I did decide I was going to do contracts. When I usually do live streams where, not just live streams, but videos where I get into the details of the doll, and I have added now as an extra layer of protection for me in the description of a video, I always include like a lot of legal verbiage, and this is just an example. I mean, you're gonna have to tweak it, your terms of agreement for your sale, however is you want and what you feel comfortable with. You present that to whoever is interested in your doll, and at that point they make the decision also, is if this sell and contract and what you've spoken about over comments or over email, if this is something that's agreeable to them. So this is, in my experience and everything that I've learned about buying and selling, just firsthand, this is how I came up with the verbiage and the terms of sale. This doll is not for sale, by the way, so do not ask me. I'm not selling her. She'll never leave my nursery. Wanted her for way too long, and she's exactly how she was, a custom made for me. So never will be selling her. She's also a limited edition of only 200. So back to the contracts. What I do, so the first thing I ask for, I say, if anyone's interested in this doll, please contact me via email. If I make a video for my sale, I'm just going to streamline it, and I'm going to have all the conversation and all of the sale details and conversations in my email. I will divulge as much information as I can think of, as much information as I think is important about the details of the doll or the details of my sell terms. And then it's going to become a rally between me putting the ball in the buyer's court, and now it's the buyer's turn to ask any important questions that the buyer may have. A buyer may have questions like that have to do with the varnish. Is it a satin finish? Is it a textured finish? Maybe the buyer wants to know what kind of mohair the doll has. Maybe the buyer wants to know how long you've had the doll. And this is strictly speaking from a private collector's point of view. I am not an artist. I don't make these dolls for sale. So from a private collector's point of view, these are the questions that a buyer may want to ask the seller. So anything that is important to you as a collector, if you, the longer you're in this hobby, the more you learn what you like and what you want and what you're looking for in a doll. So that's the first thing. I try to streamline all communication and all correspondence, which is documented then, as this is documented correspondence, and I try to streamline it on email. Number two, I included the doll will be shipped, how I'm going to ship the doll. So I let the people know up front that I ship my dolls USPS large flat rate priority box. There's been exceptions. Sometimes I've used bigger boxes, but in that case, I will specify the kind of box I'll be sending it in. But I generally tend to send all of my dolls priority. So, so you want to discuss how you're going to ship the doll. And so for example, one of the last dolls I sold, it was USPS large flat rate priority box. If the buyer would like the doll packaged a certain way or shipped through a carrier other than USPS, then I require the buyer pay for the shipping and packaging cost and insurance. And then number three, additional insurance will be purchased by buyer and it's optional. Buyer is 100% responsible for any damage claims and will not charge back or ask for a refund. Those are just my sell terms. If the buyer doesn't feel comfortable with that as a sell term, that to me is non-negotiable. And those are just my sell terms. If they don't feel comfortable, then they can move on to the next doll that's available, not through me. But those are one of the terms that I put. You can basically put any sell terms in your contract, or you want to present to the buyer. And I mean, if you want to be accommodating, you can kind of tweak your sell terms. But if you don't feel comfortable with certain things, you're definitely, it's definitely okay to present and stand, firm on your own sell terms. That's not something that I'm really going to tweak for anybody. That's just the way I feel. Number four is the buyer is solely responsible for any future sales of the doll. So if a buyer gets a doll and they decide they don't like it, I'm not going to help them sell it. I'm not going to be responsible for them to sell it on. I feel like it's always the buyer's. It belongs to the buyer now because they purchase it, and they're responsible for any future sales of the doll they bought. Number five, no trades, no exchanges, no returns, no refunds under no circumstances. Again, the language is strong, and it's and I pretty much stand firm on what I'm selling, and either someone agrees to those sell terms or they won't, but those are my sell terms. Number six, the doll will go home with, now you want to specify what the doll is going to go home with. So not this one. Again, I just want to put it out there. This doll is not for sale. I don't have a doll for sale right now. I would never sell this doll. Not for sale. Okay, but you want to specify what the doll is going to come home with. One outfit of my choice, one sleeper, the COA, the lovey, the receiving blanket, his head. I'm even describing how the doll is going to arrive. So head, the head, for this case, I put the head will be wrapped in bubble wrap. And I wrapped the head pretty nicely in bubble wrap. And then if they have any questions, please ask. Then I also added a disclaimer to my contract, which was, the doll in the video may appear slightly different in person depending on the device you are using to view this video. I record all my videos on iPhone X and natural daylight. The images and close-ups of this doll are a part of the description. Your payment will be considered confirmation that you agree to all terms written here, discussed via email, spoken on here, which I mean is the video, spoken here on video, and that you watch this video in its entirety. So I kind of threw in a clause there that if the person, that the buyer, once the buyer transfers the money or makes the payment, makes the PayPal payment, the payment through PayPal, once that payment has been made, the buyer is basically confirming that they understood all the sales of terms, and it confirms that they also agree with all my terms of sale, the terms that I'm presenting. So, I mean, I don't know how, airtight this would be in court. I hope that it would be. I've never tested it out, but I feel like communication and divulging as much information, not just about the details of the doll, but the details of your terms of sale are super important. We have so many issues that happen in this community where the buyer is disappointed with what they received, people talking about being scammed, and sometimes it's the seller that doesn't omit things, and sometimes it's the buyer that just is not paying attention or asking the right questions. So mistakes can be made on both sides. I also added in one of my cells and one of my contracts, besides just explaining how I'm shipping it and how much the additional insurance costs, I also added that I will pay the additional cost for the handle with care. So through the USPS, they have a cost, an additional cost of $10, where they specify that the item inside the box is fragile, and they put handle with care stickers all over the box. So I pay that additional fee now. I don't charge that back to the seller. I just do that as a customer service gesture, as a little bit of extra. It's a little bit of an extra thing that I do to make sure that the customer knows that I do care in what condition the doll arrives, and that I do want the doll to arrive safely. So I am willing to pay that out of pocket for the doll to arrive or to be handled with care during during the time that it's transit. So I know that don't be shy to present your terms of sale. Don't be shy. And if you're out there, you're a private collector, or maybe you're an artist, and I don't think any of us should be shy, not as the seller and not as the buyer. I don't think we need to be shying away from saying what we want, presenting terms of sale. Also, as a buyer, if you have any, things in the contract that you don't feel comfortable with, I'm also open to discussing those things. And I'm sure any private collector or a doll artist is open to it. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to bend any of the things. Just think about this. Most of the things that artists or private collectors may, stipulations that they may add to the sell terms of, when they're selling something, are usually going to be in place because they've had a bad experience in the past, and now they're in place because they're trying to do everything possible to prevent it from happening again. So sellers, go with confidence. Don't shy away from having strong sell terms for your very super expensive dolls. And buyers, shop with knowledge. Do your research, ask your questions. Don't be shy to ask questions. Questions are a huge signal that the person is ready to spend some money. So I don't really shy away from answering questions from people, and I don't shy away from discussing things. So, buyers, don't be shy. Just ask the questions. Do your research. Don't leave it all up to the seller. You need to know what it is that you like. As a buyer, you need to know what it is you're looking for. You need to know what it is you like. If you're looking at a kit that a seller has for sale, a private collector has for sale, and you're looking at it and you want more specifications, you could even Google it. You can go to Bountiful Baby, you can go to McPherson's, and you can look up how big the baby is, how many in its edition. So also when you're ready to put down this serious amount of money, when you're ready to put down some serious money, be the type of buyer that is educated, that is knowledgeable enough to be throwing down some serious dough. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is something that you're thinking you're gonna start doing as a private collector. I'm sure a lot of artists already do this. So let me know if you think there's any sell terms that I might have missed there, or let me know if you're just a buyer out there, someone that's looking, you're not really selling that much. Let me know if there's anything that I said in my sell terms that kind of scare you. So I want to know what you guys think, and I look forward to reading your comments. I hope you enjoyed looking at Paloma, and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.